Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your February 2020 general reading. We're looking at the first half of February from the 1st through the 15th. So welcome everyone, newcomers and first-timers, welcome and greetings, and to followers and subscribers, welcome back. Thanks for being here and thanks for all that you do in support of this channel. So this reading is for the Earth sign of Virgo for the first half of February. That's Virgo Sun, Moon, Rising, if your Venus is in Virgo, or if you're cross-watching for Virgo as well. But as most of you know, and we always say, if you know all of your signs or whatever signs you know, watch those as well, because general readings always resonate a little differently, and watching the rest of your sign videos can be helpful and clarifying, and sometimes a little more predictive than your primary sun sign, especially in different areas of your life. So do that if you can. And if any of these readings do resonate with you and you would be interested in reaching out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. You can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do offer a wide variety of readings in all areas of life. And I can usually respond to initial inquiries within the same day or the first 24 hours. And scheduling readings, I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week or more. And so I'm pretty diligent at working with both your schedule and mine to get readings out to you or scheduled with you in as timely a fashion as possible. So email me if you're interested. We'll go from there. My cat has decided to join me today as I'm recording these videos. She is on the bed, so she may occasionally wander in and out. You know cats. I told her to behave, but you know cats. Okay, Virgo, let's see what the first half of February has in store for you. Okay, we begin with the Nine of Swords, followed by the Six of Wands, the Eight of Swords, followed by the Four of Wands, and from the bottom of the deck, overall energy for the first half of February is the Ace of Cups, which is quite lovely, quite beautiful. But there seems to be an awful lot of stress, Virgo. It's interesting because you have two cards that I always say I never really like showing up for people, the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, because it represents, you know, a lot of mental stress, anxiety, fear of the future, feeling trapped, feeling like you can't make any changes to a situation that you're in which you feel powerless. But your overall crowning energy is quite beautiful. And the energy of that which you are worried about is also quite beautiful. The Ace of Cups, this is very emotional. Cups is governed by the element of water, mercurial fluid water. And in the tarot, the energy of the Suit of Cups is about our emotions, our feelings, our heart space, that which we feel emotionally connected to. Aces represent the beginning, the number one, the start of something new, a new path, a new opportunity. The Ace of Cups can represent meeting someone new love and romance. It can represent emotional renewal within an already existing relationship. It can represent the heart beginning to open up again, particularly in terms of self-love as well, too. So there's this lovely kind of fresh, new, the heart kind of opening up again. Lovely emotional energy. Or some of you might be coming to a point of self-realization, self-awareness, and self-love, kind of beginning on that path. However, there's all this stress and anxiety with the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords. And I usually see the Nine of Swords come up when someone is in fear of something which hasn't finished or played out yet, fear of the future. You know, what if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What will I do? Being overly consumed, overly obsessive about it, kind of your mind going around in circles, not being able to think of anything but this thing, and in a way where you feel it's, you know, you're kind of always fearing the worst in a future which hasn't even played out yet completely. So the positive aspect to the Nine of Swords is that particularly as I'm looking at your cards, is that this reflects your internal environment, because swords is mental, cerebral energy. It's governed by the element of air, which is all about what goes on up in here, how we perceive things, belief systems, ideologies, wisdom, truth, enlightenment. It's all about what's in here and how we perceive things. So I don't actually, and the Nine of Swords itself often represents that what you're in fear of or what you're envisioning might happen in this negative way. It can represent making mountains out of a molehill, meaning, and I don't mean to trivialize whatever some of you might be going through, but it can represent building, the source of your concern, I'm sure, is valid. But the Nine of Swords shows up often when we build it up in our heads and think about it and obsess about it so much that it becomes this enormous thing in our heads, but that actually isn't reflected in the reality, the external reality of the situation. So kind of your mind being its own worst enemy here. And that's the positive aspect. It's not all of that. It might be a Two of Swords or Three of Swords, but it's not a Nine of Swords. And conversely, the card next to it, the Eight of Swords, which represents feeling like you're trapped and held hostage and have no power in this situation, also is somewhat illusionary. I mean, everything comes at a cost. If you're in a situation that you don't like being in and you want to free yourself from it or make changes to it and you feel you can't, you feel you're trapped, we're never really absolutely trapped. We're often trapped by our connections to things, our duties, obligations, etc. You can always free yourself from a situation, even though, of course, everything comes at a cost. And it's no different here. The swords represent, again, mental environment. That's the only thing that's keeping someone trapped in this situation. The gaps between the swords are wide enough to walk through ideas, thought, situation. She's on her knees, but nobody's put her on her knees. Nobody's holding her there. The chains which are wrapped around her wrists aren't connected to anything or anyone. She could twist her wrists. The chains would fall off. She could take the blindfold off, stand up, take a look around, see her situation for what it is, that she can make the changes or remove herself, whether at a cost or not, if she truly wants to. So again, the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords, your mind being your own worst enemy, being the thing that keeps you trapped. I can't change, or I can't do this, I can't make this happen because of XYZ. And it really comes down to what your choices are in this situation. So what is this about? I mean, did you meet somebody new but feel like you can't, that you're interested in but feel like you can't pursue it for some reason, your reason, their reason? Because what's underneath the Nine and Eight of Swords, like what the source of the stress about, is the Six of Wands and the Four of Wands, which is quite beautiful. This is victory and triumph after success, being recognized, public recognition, achievement, awards even. The Four of Wands is also a celebratory card, one of the happy home cards, marriage, anniversaries, preparing for a reunion or a blessed event of some kind. Could be a reunion. Are you perhaps stressed out, Virgo, because, I mean, we have the Ace of Cups. Did you meet someone new, or is someone coming back into your life, perhaps? Because what you're worried about, the Six of Wands and Four of Wands, I feel like a lot of you, this isn't something brand new, although something may have just come into your life unexpectedly, but there's already a previous or past connection with it, perhaps. Did someone come back into your life, but you can't act on it, or you feel you can't act on it or follow through with it because of whatever? Let's clarify this Ace of Cups. I mean, one could read this from the standpoint that, oh, I met somebody new, but I don't feel like I can ask them out because they're out of my league, or I can't measure up, or they'll see me this way, or they won't see me the way I want them to see. But I feel like if it's somebody coming into your life, I feel like this is already a known commodity of some kind. I mean, it might not be love and romance. It could be in work, career, finance. Perhaps some of you have had this opportunity kind of jump into your lap or fall into your lap, an opportunity to, to take on a role or a position or a project of some kind that puts you that puts you in a very visible, highly visible public sort of way, and you're kind of afraid of that. You're afraid because there's a sense here of not, for some of you, of afraid, fearing failure, or fear that you won't measure up, or that you're not adequate enough somehow. So it could be that in work, career, and finance, and you feel like you can't, you couldn't do the job very well, and you're afraid of being in such a highly visible position. It could be that. Clarify the Ace of Cups. The Six of Cups, which is a card of the past, reminiscence, nostalgia, parents, childhood, roots of origin, people, places, situations that you already have a long-term or historical, some kind of history there already, historical connection with. So yeah, for some of you, this is being seen, this is parties, reunions, maybe there is an event coming up for some of you. Maybe there's a family reunion, or a wedding, a big birthday party, a wedding, an anniversary, a celebration of some kind. And maybe it is, maybe you're going to see someone or someone's from your past, and you're very stressed and worried about that. Could be that for some of you. What am I going to do when I see whoever? Some of you, it might be that someone, a person, place, situation has popped up from your past. Maybe for some of you, someone has reconciled with you, or there's been communication with someone that you have a past connection with, unexpectedly, out of the blue. And there's a lot of kind of excitement and hopeful energy around it. And perhaps you've arranged for, to meet again, for them to travel to you, you to travel to them, or, hey, I'm going to be in town, let's meet, whatever. And there's this real sense of this undercurrent of excitement and all of this stress around it. It's kind of like, that super important first date kind of energy, only it's with someone that you already have some kind of knowledge or connection with. Now, someone from the past showing up could be an old lover, friend, etc. Or it could be someone from the past that you perhaps didn't have a romantic connection with then, but you do now. Or, it could be, this is a general reading, it's not specifically at one person, so, the details and specifics will vary. But the undercurrent, the fundamentals remain the same. Something's popped up from the past. Some new opportunity which has you feeling maybe a bit giddy, but also very stressed and anxious. Will they like me? What if, what will they think when they see me if it's been a long, long time since you've seen each other? How will they think I've aged? Like all of these things kind of swirling around. The thing is, Virgo, I feel like this is actually kind of a lovely reading. Even though we have this 8 and 9 of Swords, which is the only challenging kind of negative energy here, it represents what's going on in your internal environment. It's not reflected in the external environment. So whatever this situation, this person, this opportunity, perhaps if it's work and career is, it looks really positive and really good, and that it holds a lot of potential, because aces represent seeds. It's the very beginning. This holds the potential of going to culminating in a 10, which is what we want. It's just a lot of maybe nervous, fearful energy here. So cut that down a few notches. I won't tell you to get rid of it, because you can't. We're human beings. But it doesn't have to be the 8 and 9 of Swords. You can cut that down quite a bit, because that's the only challenging energy that's showing up here, and it's showing up inside your head, not actually in the situation itself. So let's end with pulling 1 or 2 cards for advice or guidance, or how is this going to kind of, what's the next phase here? What's the next energy level here after this? Take a little peek at that. The 8 of Wands, right behind it, the 3 of Wands. Yeah, this is going to work out quite well. The 8 of Wands is communication, travel, rapid movement. Wands is governed by the element of fire, which is very aggressive, assertive, artistic, creative, forward-moving energy. The Eight of Cups often represents communication, travel, movement, very powerful exchange of communication, perhaps travel. So again, you might be traveling to this person, this event, you know, they might be traveling to you. There's communication and conversation around it. Fast, powerful movement. And the Three of Wands is beginning to see manifestations, beginning to see things play off. You know, the Ace of Wands would be like the idea, the opportunity, you know, and then we kind of go on and culminate as the cards move along in chronological order. The Three of Wands, we're still early on here. You're still watching those ships, waiting for them to come in to see what they hold, but you've done some of the footwork, you've done some of the homework, and you're beginning to see manifestations of things playing off. For example, the Three of Wands, you have a big goal of kind of an idea or a vision that you have, and the Three of Wands, and so you have that goal, that vision, but along the way to achieving that you have these smaller goals, and the Three of Wands represents seeing some of those being met. Still kind of early on, but feeling very positive because you're seeing very positive manifestations of things playing out towards a larger goal, and lots of communication, travel, movement around that. So again, Virgo, whatever it is that you're preparing for, waiting for, getting ready for, and feeling all of the stress and anxiety about, cut that down a bit if you can. You know, open a bottle of wine, take a bath, you know, something like that. Just whatever you need to do to kind of rest and recharge. I won't tell you not to have it because it feels more like butterflies and all of that, but the Eight and Nine of Swords would represents kind of your thoughts are getting the better of you. Your anxieties and fears are getting the better of you. So cut that down a bit. It is absolutely not reflected in the actual reality of this situation. That actually looks very good, very positive, very hopeful, and really quite lovely. So Virgo, that is your reading for the first half of February. I hope you enjoyed it. I actually found it quite a delightful reading. Again, if any of these readings resonate for you and you are interested in reaching out for a personal reading, just click on the description link below, hit that little arrow that pulls down the description. You'll see a little more info and my contact details. You can email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the February 2020 mid-month general readings. And until then, as always, I wish you much joy, love, peace, and happiness. And I look forward to seeing you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.